And so I want to just take you to COVID. The coronavirus pretty much dominated, managed to avoid it so far, pretty much dominated 2020. I mean, the massive impact upon profits on the upside. What have been the biggest challenges and opportunities that COVID has presented so far?
Challenges, I think the key challenge for everyone, first of all, was, worldwide. I mean, how do we look after individuals and their family? That's genuinely the problem. There was a lot of fear around in February and March. So how do you operate and also look after people's mental and physical well-being? So that was the first big challenge. I think as industries and as world nations, we've done okay in that. As an industry, in the FX industry and in the digital industry, we had to prove that we could operate. I mean, if you look at LMAX Group, it would be 150 people in the office any given day. We went to 8. And, your lead regulator in the UK says, David, you're essential financial market infrastructure. How are you going to operate? So big challenge there. Now, we're fortunate because we're highly technical and we've been remote enabled for a decade. We opened 5 exchanges on a Sunday night remotely. So with very minimal office presence any given weekend. And we operate 7 days a week. Most of that is also, Saturday, Sunday is mostly remote. So met that challenge. And then the next challenge is really, how do you grow? How do you prosper? No one knows how long this is going to last. Yeah. No one knows when the next one will be. How do you train the next leaders? How do you mentor the next leaders? How do you develop your staff? How do you develop your product? How do you engage with your customer base? So, and I'm not going to say we're not Twitter. Perhaps not, we're certainly not big enough, don't have that scale to just say, okay, let's go remote first. I think it's difficult for an SME to be 100% remote first, but the future will no longer be huge offices in towers in London and Manhattan. It will be more flexible. It will be more remote. But in that sense, I'd say to you in terms of opportunity, wow, right? Suddenly your talent pool is global.
Yeah.
So we've known this for a little while. We started building technology down in Auckland as well as London 6 years ago because we had some very talented individuals who frankly just wanted to go home. They didn't want to leave. Normally they just leave the company. I didn't want them to leave the company. So we started building technology down there. But imagine if I can suddenly hire the best low latency experts in Silicon Valley, in New York, in Chicago, 24-hour development, 24-hour distribution, 24-hour markets, 7 days a week markets. So I think with it, we've all had to get an accelerated MBA, if you like, an accelerated degree in remote working over the past 9 months. And I think we'll all be better for it. So I think there's huge opportunity. When you look at the markets themselves, look, everyone out there somehow involved in foreign exchange or crypto, they should give themselves a pat on the back, frankly, because these two markets held up remarkably well at the start of the pandemic. So you saw the sell-off in equities. You saw the fact that people were paying you to buy oil. You saw the dislocation in gold. It simply wasn't moving. Foreign exchange, the most liquid asset class in the world, operated. Sure, there was volatility, but there was liquidity, there was depth. And then you look at the digital space, look at the crypto space. The Bitcoin graph, back when it traded down, it dropped from 10,000 down to 4,000. The graph, there was no end. It's just a falling knife. It said it was going to zero. It didn't. But it went to 1 to 0, oil went to 0 and beyond.
Crazy.
So the resilience of that asset class was good to see. And I think gives everyone confidence in the years ahead. Yeah. So again, I'd say to everyone in FX and crypto, well done. We withstood a significant shock. And that will only stand us all in good stead going forward.
Brilliant. Well, so going forward, David, going forward, the last question I need to know, I'm sure the viewers here would like to know, plans for the LMAX Group. We've got you're London based. You said about not being in London, big London office blocks. You're London based. We've got Brexit looming. We haven't talked about Brexit. And there's a post-COVID-19 landscape to plan for. I mean, how do you plan for the post-COVID landscape, Brexit, and basically LMAX Group over the next 5 years?
Yeah, I think it's massively exciting. So look, you know, if you run any business, if you run LMAX Group, you've got to build and you're in capital markets, you've got to build a business for all seasons. You don't know what's coming at you next. You know, I'm old enough to have been through the Asian crisis in 97, the Russian default in 98, 2008 subprime, S&B, everyone remembers well, 2015. And now we have COVID, we have Brexit. You've got to build a business that can exist in all seasons.
Yeah.
Anyone can float on a rising tide, right? It's when the tide's going out, right, that you need to be able to operate. So I think it's hugely exciting. You put them all in the hat. You say COVID, you say Brexit, you say low interest environment, a change in the presidency, higher taxes, yeah, just challenges. Well, capital markets has been around a long time. Foreign exchange has been around a long time. Derivatives now have been around a long time. You have to build your business that can exist in all of those, and hopefully in all of those times, and hopefully you'll be able to ride that wave that I just discussed. So for LMAX Group, again, singular focus. Singular focus. We want to become one of the preeminent exchange groups in the world. So what does that mean? We're not there yet. We need to be the #1 central limit order book for foreign exchange. We need to be the #1 central limit order book for cryptocurrencies. That's it. So that's our focus. That's what we're aiming to do in the next 5 years. You can come to my office and you'll see LMAX 2025 is on the wall. That's our focus. That's what we need to deliver. We've made some good steps in the last decade. The next decade should be even more exciting. And yeah, back to something you discussed earlier, you know, distribution is key. So expect us to have more and more overseas operations. We haven't got every client in the world yet. We need to have every client onboarded. There'll be a lot of people watching this who don't get trade with LMAX Group. So I need to pick up the phone. I can't just rely on them. I need to keep telling them why we have a better product. So that's it. That's simple. I love what I do. I'm very fortunate again to have a fantastic team around us. We now have a proven brand. So it's time to put the foot down, give everyone else something to think about, and hit that singular focus of being the leading exchange group in the world.
Brilliant. And staying in London, do you think, I mean, on a personal note, because I'm a North London boy myself, do you think London can retain its as a financial services hub?
For sure. I mean, I'm born and bred in Belfast, but I'm a proud Londoner, having been here for well over 30 years now. London has the infrastructure, the talent, the history to be the best capital market in the world, but we cannot rest on our laurels. And, you know, I talked to some of the leading lights allegedly in some of the politicians, and they need to help us. They need to invest, and, you know, they need to invest in talent. They need to invest in technology, and they need to come up with an efficient tax regime. Otherwise, businesses will just leave the great city of London. Some already have, and they're not coming back in a hurry. You hear about some of the leading banks setting up in European operations in Frankfurt, in Amsterdam. They're not coming back in a hurry because they're like an oil tanker, right? It takes a long time to move them. They've moved. So we need to hold on to what we have. And can I just say, you know, I'd love London to maintain its position as the leading entrepreneurial center on the globe. Second only probably to Silicon Valley, but we need some help there with policy. But I think, yes, here to stay. But again, you know, LMAX Group, I'm not going to be foolish about it. You know, I'm not sitting here with saying that it always has to be UK. We have 11 offices globally. Yeah. Right? We have a hub in Singapore. We have a hub in New York City. We have a hub in London. right? As we just talked about it previously, about Cyprus, about Auckland, about Hong Kong, about Singapore. There's more to come. So it's relatively easy for us to operate our business anywhere. If it becomes too problematical in the UK, who knows? Maybe James Dyson was right. I hope not. And I hope that sometimes someone at number 10 listens and they help us create an entrepreneurial society and create opportunity and jobs. I mean, it's very important that everyone understands that. It's entrepreneurs who create opportunity and jobs. The enterprise economy is essential for the United Kingdom to remain at the forefront of international trade and, of course, capital markets.
Placing a lot of confidence in this government's ability. A lot of confidence.
You know, it shouldn't be this government or any particular government. Doesn't matter what color they are, right? They need tax revenues. They need GDP to go up. It's very simple. They need to create opportunity, right, for the youth. And the way to do that is to invest in the enterprise economy, right? We can't all be civil servants. Someone has to pay for the civil servants. It's as simple as that. So I hope, again, the 3 T's I mentioned earlier: technology, taxation, and talent. Make those 3 investments, the great and the good, and the UK will only thrive post-Brexit.
Amen. Brilliant. David, thank you very much on that bombshell of Britain's continued brilliance and dominance in the world. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your insight. It's been an absolute pleasure. Everybody listening, viewing this, they can view the website, see it again. I'm sure they want to. And thank you all.
Thanks, Ben.